Hey Douglas, just how close are we to reaching the monthly contract goal I set? We've only got 3 days left in the month and time is ticking. Where do we stand?
Good evening, Alfred. I apologize for the inconvenience, but I'm actually on a business trip starting today for the next 3 days.
What? What do you mean you're on a business trip?
I submitted a formal request in advance. You approved it, if you recall. I made sure all the paperwork was filed well ahead of time, and the notification went to you as well.
Approval? I don't remember giving any approval for this.
Regardless of whether you remember or not, Alfred, the request was submitted and it went through the proper channels. You signed off on it.
I told you I don't remember anything like that. If I don't remember it, it didn't happen. If I say I didn't give approval, then that's the end of it. My word is final. End of story. Now about the contracts, how close are we to meeting the quota? I'm telling you there are only 3 days left and I don't want to hear excuses.
You know, it's a little unusual to set a target this close to the end of the month, especially with only a few days remaining to hit it.
Consider it a warm-up for next month. You can think of this as your practice round, so you'll be ready to hit the ground running when next month starts. You've been here long enough, you should be used to these kinds of targets.
Before we continue, may I clarify something?
What is it now? You're already testing my patience, Douglas.
In the sales department, as far as I understand, we've never enforced individual quotas for each salesperson. Our system is built around team performance and overall department targets. That's how it's been, and that's the policy set by the company president himself. We report total contracts at the end of the month, but individual quotas? We've never done that. You've been a part of this department for a while now, so surely you're aware of this policy.
Yeah, that might have been the case up until yesterday, but things are different now. The president's away on medical leave, and while he's gone, the company's number 2, our vice president, is in charge of everything. So while the boss is out, the vice president is making decisions. And one of those decisions handed down from the top is that we're moving to individual quotas. Every salesperson is going to have to meet specific contract numbers from now on.
This is the first I've heard of this change.
Well, of course, you're hearing about it now. You weren't at work today, were you? We had a briefing this morning where this was all discussed, but since you were off on your little trip, you missed the entire thing. So yeah, no wonder this is news to you.
As I mentioned earlier, this trip was approved, Alfred. It wasn't some last-minute decision. Everything was properly documented.
I don't care. Approved or not, that doesn't change the fact that we have new targets, and if you're not meeting them, it's going to be a problem. If you haven't hit your numbers yet, you need to get back here immediately and start closing contracts. I don't care where you are or what you're doing. That's an order from me, your superior. And don't think you're getting any special treatment just because you've always been at the top of the sales leaderboard. That doesn't mean you're exempt from the rules everyone else has to follow.
I'm sorry, but as I mentioned earlier, I'm currently about 3 hours away from the office.
3 hours? Where the hell are you?
And in the next couple of days, I'll be even farther away. So it's not feasible for me to come back to the office.
What? Are you kidding me? Then turn around and start heading back here right now. I don't care where you are. Get back here immediately.
I'm afraid that's just not possible, Alfred.
Not possible? What are you talking about? This is a direct order from your superior.
Look, Alfred, I'm sorry, but I'm currently working alongside someone else and they're calling for me right now. I really need to attend to this, so I'll have to excuse myself from this conversation. Goodbye.
Douglas, wait a second. Who is this person you're working with? You're probably just out there with some junior employee from another department, right? There's no way this trip is that important. You should be prioritizing my orders, not running around with some underling. You're supposed to listen to your boss. Douglas, answer the phone! You'd better pick up the next time I call or you're gonna regret it. Do you have any idea what's gonna happen the next time you set foot in this office?
Kylie, can I talk to you for a bit?
Of course, Douglas. Hey, aren't you still on that business trip? How's it going? You must be completely wiped out by now, huh?
Yeah, you know how these trips are. It's been exhausting, but I'm pushing through. Thanks for asking, though.
I figured. So, what's up? You reaching out to talk to me about work stuff? Something going on at the company?
Yeah, exactly. I got this weird message earlier today from Alfred, you know, the sales manager. He was going on about how there were only 3 days left in the month, and suddenly, out of nowhere, he's talking about quotas. He said something about hitting a specific number of contracts by the end of the month, and get this, he hinted that this whole quota thing will become a regular thing starting next month.
Wait, what? Quotas? That's odd. I mean, I'm not in the sales department myself, as you know, but from what I've heard from some of my colleagues, it seems like the vice president is up to something. Like he's taking advantage of the fact that the president isn't around right now, and he's just going off and doing whatever he wants. It's almost like he's using this chance to push his own agenda or something.
So that's what I thought too. I had this feeling that the VP was pulling some strings, especially with the president out on medical leave. It just feels like a power play, doesn't it?
Exactly. And you know what? Even though I'm not directly involved, I've been hearing rumors. Apparently there's more going on behind the scenes than just a push for more contracts. There's been talk in the break rooms and among some of the senior staff that the vice president is actually aiming for something bigger. Some people think he's trying to consolidate power while the president is out. If he can pull it off, he might be able to secure himself more control over the company permanently.
Man, that's exactly the vibe I'm getting. But seriously, imposing quotas right now? The company's production lines are already running at full capacity. The factory is working flat out to handle the current workload, so it doesn't even make sense to push for more contracts. If we start taking on more work without increasing production capacity, we're gonna run into major problems. It's like they haven't thought through this at all.
Yeah, that's the big issue. If they push the sales team to bring in more contracts, the factory's going to be overwhelmed. There's only so much production can handle at once. And as far as I know, there's no plan to increase capacity or hire more workers. So what's the plan here? To stretch the current workers even thinner? It's going to backfire.
Exactly. It feels like they're putting the cart before the horse here. Instead of figuring out how to expand the production side of things, they're just blindly pushing for more sales. It's frustrating, you know? This kind of management is what leads companies into trouble. And to top it all off, Alfred, who's temporarily in charge of sales, seems to be fully on board with this new quota system. He's acting like it's the greatest idea ever, but I'm not convinced.
Alfred, huh? Isn't he the one who stepped in after the sales department head went on maternity leave?
Yeah, exactly. The department head, Mariah, is on maternity leave and she's planning on taking the full year off. So Alfred's been running things in her absence, but honestly, he's not doing a great job of it. The guy's always been a bit too eager to please the higher-ups, and now with the VP pulling the strings, he's just going along with whatever crazy ideas get thrown his way.
Well, that's not good. If Alfred is just going to go along with everything the vice president says, things could get even worse. I mean, what happens when the president comes back and finds out what's been going on? Or worse, what if the vice president actually manages to take control before the president returns? If the company's leadership keeps going in this direction, it could seriously hurt us in the long run. And with our wedding coming up, I'm a little anxious about what might happen. I don't want us to be caught in the middle of a corporate meltdown.
I totally understand your concerns, Kylie. I've been thinking the same thing. But honestly, I don't think it'll get that bad. I've actually been talking to some people in the company, including the section heads in the sales department, and they're not happy about the new quotas either. In fact, most of the team isn't planning on following through with these ridiculous demands. And I had a conversation with your dad, too, the factory manager. He's fully aware of the situation, and he's made sure that both the production and sales sides are on the same page. They're not going to let this get out of hand.
Wait, you've already talked to my dad about this? I had no idea you were coordinating with him behind the scenes. Is there something bigger happening here? Are you guys planning some kind of resistance?
I can't say too much right now, Kylie. There are some things in motion, but it's not something I can talk about yet. Just trust me when I say that we're working on it. The situation isn't as dire as it might seem, and we're not going to let the VP's crazy plans ruin everything. The people who care about this company are still here, and we're not going to let it fall apart.
That's reassuring. I guess I was starting to worry a bit too much. I mean, I trust you, Douglas, and I know you'll do whatever it takes to make sure things don't spiral out of control. It's just everything feels like it's happening so fast. And with the wedding coming up, I just wanted to make sure we're set up for the future, you know?
Yeah, I get it, and I promise you we're going to be fine. The wedding, our future together, none of this corporate nonsense is gonna derail any of that. I've got your back, and I'll make sure things stay on track.
Thanks, Douglas. I really appreciate that. You've always been so level-headed about these things. It's one of the reasons I love you.
And I love you too, Kylie. We'll get through this, just like we've handled everything else. Now I better get back to work before Alfred sends me another one of his ridiculous messages.
Hey, good morning, incompetent one. Looks like you couldn't hit your target this month, huh?
Good morning, Alfred. I don't recall doing anything to deserve being called incompetent by you. What's going on?
Well, today marks the start of a new month. From today onward, I'm going to be setting some strict performance targets. And just for you, I'll be implementing them starting now. You know why? Because you skipped the last 3 days of the month and didn't even bother to inform me about it. Those 3 days were supposed to serve as a warm-up period, but instead you just slacked off. So I'll be setting even stricter targets for you compared to everyone else in the company.
I've already explained multiple times that those 3 days were a business trip. It was fully authorized and I followed all proper procedures to get the time off. I don't understand why you keep bringing this up. Frankly, it's getting old and tiresome.
It seems you don't understand your position here. I've got the vice president backing me, who is currently the acting head of the company. If I decide to, I can fire you anytime I want. You should really keep that in mind.
I see. So what you're saying is that you and the vice president are actively trying to push me out of the company. Am I understanding that correctly?
Well, that really depends on your attitude and how you respond to this situation.
Is that so? All right then, I'll submit my resignation right now.
What? Wait, what?
I'll go ahead and hand it in during the next company-wide meeting. That way we can make it official and get everything sorted out.
Huh? Today isn't even a day for a full company meeting. What are you talking about?
Oh, didn't you hear? There's an emergency meeting happening this morning.
No one told me about this.
It was a direct order from the president.
The president? Wait, the president is back at the office?
Yes, the president returned to the office today.
Already? I thought they were on medical leave for a longer time.
Well, it seems the medical leave has been postponed. Apparently, there were some urgent matters that needed addressing before they could take time off.
Urgent matters? What does that even mean?
Well, considering the recent developments in the company, it seems the president wanted to ensure everything was under control before stepping away completely.
That's all well and good, but what does that have to do with me?
Oh, by the way, Alfred, I haven't seen you around this morning. You didn't happen to miss today's start time, did you?
What do you mean? Of course I'm here.
Really? Because it doesn't seem like you're at your desk right now.
No, I'm just handling some things. I had a few urgent matters to deal with.
Handling some things, is that what you call it? Seems more like you're trying to avoid your responsibilities.
I'm not avoiding anything. Look, this is all just a misunderstanding.
A misunderstanding, huh? It's funny how you always seem to have an excuse ready when things don't go your way.
Excuse? I'm not making excuses.
You're being unreasonable, Alfred.
Unreasonable? You think I'm the unreasonable one here? You were absent without a word for 3 days. Do you understand how that affects the entire team? We rely on each other, and your lack of communication puts everyone in a tough spot.
Listen, I had my trip approved and I did everything by the book. I don't see how this is my fault.
Oh, come on! You're really gonna stand there and tell me that? We both know the company has expectations and you failed to meet them. You should be taking this seriously.
Taking it seriously? You're the one who's acting like a child. Just because you have some newfound authority doesn't mean you can dictate how everyone else should work.
Authority? You think I'm doing this because I enjoy it? I'm just trying to keep things running smoothly. You, on the other hand, seem to be intent on derailing everything we've worked hard for.
Derailing? Don't put that on me. You're the one who seems to be out of touch with reality if you think your threats are going to intimidate me.
You think I'm threatening you? I'm just laying out the facts. You either step up or face the consequences. It's really that simple.
Simple for you to say, but what do you know about the work I do? You're just sitting in your comfortable chair throwing around orders. It's frustrating.
Frustrating? You have no idea what frustrating means. But I guess you wouldn't know given how you've been coasting along without any real consequences so far.
Coasting along? How dare you! I've worked hard to get where I am, and I won't let you undermine my efforts with your petty games.
This is about accountability. If you want to stay in this company, you need to start acting like it. Otherwise, you might find yourself out the door sooner than you think. Hey, Douglas, what about the morning meeting?
It's already finished.
What?
Oh, I should let you know I submitted my resignation letter in front of all the employees.
You really did that?
Well, to be precise, it was a resignation request, but when I handed it to the president, he cheerfully dismissed it, saying, "What is the next president doing?"
Wait, next president?
In line with the transition of the company's top position from the vice president until yesterday, I acted accordingly. However, the president, who has returned today, didn't grant my resignation, so I will continue to be a part of this company.
Yay, what do you mean you're the next president? Isn't the next president supposed to be my uncle, the vice president?
To be exact, I'm at the stage where I've been asked to be the next president after the next one. It's certain that a new president will be coming soon, but it's definitely not the current vice president.
What?
They'll be establishing a new structure once everything is settled.
A new structure? What do you mean by that? Are you saying there's going to be a major overhaul in how things are run around here?
Yes, exactly. The current management will undergo some changes, and I think there will be new roles assigned to everyone.
I can't believe this. So you're saying you're essentially in line to take over? What's going to happen to all of us in the meantime?
From what I gather, the president is keen on restructuring to make things more efficient. It sounds like we might see some significant shifts in responsibilities, and I guess you'll just have to wait and see how it all unfolds.
This is all happening so fast, it's hard to keep up. Are you ready for all of this?
Honestly, I have my reservations, but I think it's an opportunity to make a difference. Plus, with the current vice president stepping back, it feels like a chance for fresh ideas to be implemented.
You really think you can handle it?
I believe so. There's a lot at stake, and I want to make sure that the team is well supported through this transition.
I guess we'll have to see what happens next, huh? The fact that both the vice president and I are under house arrest is absolutely unbelievable! Why is this happening?
Do you really not have any idea?
What are you talking about?
I'm referring to the former sales manager who left the company 6 months ago after being held responsible for a massive loss.
Huh?
And the former sales assistant manager who was demoted and had his salary cut 3 months ago for losing a contract with a major client and was subsequently transferred to the E-Town sales office.
Wait, what?
You genuinely don't remember anything about the treatment of these 2 individuals?
What are you saying?
If you still think no one has figured it out, I can only say you have quite a delusional mind.
What are you suddenly talking about?
In reality, both of these situations stem from your mistakes, right? You cried to your uncle, the vice president, and successfully pinned the blame on both the former manager and the former assistant manager, securing the vacant manager position for yourself. Meanwhile, your uncle was preparing to set you up as the manager to finally take down the president, who's been a thorn in his side for a long time. Then the news came that the president was going into medical treatment.
What?
Your plan was to seize control of the company by acquiring a large number of new contracts and expanding the business. You thought that by building up your achievements as a manager, you could force the president into retirement and solidify your position. Alfred, you imposed stringent sales quotas on your subordinates in the sales department just as you were told.
You're spouting completely unfounded accusations. If you keep dragging my uncle and me into this, I will sue you.
If you can, go ahead.
What?
I was on a business trip accompanying the president to directly meet with the former manager and the former assistant manager.
What?
There were many employees who were already on their side, and evidence of their innocence has been steadily gathering. All I needed to do was confirm the earlier conjectures and ask how they wished to proceed, and the former manager stated that he is already working in a different company and has no intention of returning. The former assistant manager expressed a desire to be reinstated to his previous position and salary, but they both share a common wish to sue you and the vice president for damages.
Sue for damages?
Regarding that, the president is preparing a lawyer for both of them.
A lawyer is getting involved?
The disciplinary actions from the company are a separate issue altogether.
What?
I believe you will receive further communication regarding this, so it would be wise not to take any unnecessary actions and simply wait patiently.
Are you serious? This definitely means I'm going to get fired.
You really ought to start connecting the dots, Alfred. This situation doesn't look good for you or the vice president. The board will be taking a closer look at everything that has happened over the past several months. The two of you have created a mess that's now come back to bite you.
So you're saying it's all over for me?
You've been in a position of power, but that power has also brought you a lot of scrutiny. It's not just your actions, the implications of those actions have put a spotlight on both you and the vice president. The way you've handled the sales quotas and shifted blame is creating an environment of distrust among the staff. People are starting to talk.
I can't believe this is happening. I thought I was doing what was best for the company, pushing us forward. It seems like every step I took to improve things is now being twisted against me.
Yes, well, that's what happens when you prioritize your interests over the company's welfare. It's become quite clear that you were more focused on your ambitions rather than fostering a healthy workplace culture. That's going to come back to haunt you.
So, what do you suggest I do? Is there any way I can salvage this situation?
I'd say you just sit back and stay quiet while the investigation goes on, and then prepare yourself to be let go by the company and have to find yourself a new job. But I don't want to go! To sum it up, the vice president was dismissed, and Alfred faced disciplinary termination. Both of them ended up leaving the company as a result of these actions. This news spread among our relatives, leading to a declaration of estrangement from the entire family. Although they now have to work to pay off the debt incurred from the compensation claims filed against them, the harsh penalties from their previous positions have made their job searches unsuccessful. As a result, they find themselves forced to take on low-paying jobs, struggling to make ends meet. This situation has led to a life of hardship for them. In the aftermath of these events, the company decided to reevaluate its structure, appointing the factory manager as the new president. I was honored to take on the role of the president's secretary. From here, I will begin my training as a prospective future president. With a wedding planned for next year, I'm determined to focus and work hard in my new position. Thank you for watching and listening. We hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe. Also, feel free to leave a comment about what you thought of the story. We look forward to seeing you at the next story.
Thank you for watching. Please subscribe and hit the like button. See you next time.